Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Most on the rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. Um, yeah, kind of covering this situation you had in the Ukraine between really Russia and the US. That's kind of been boiling over, and it started, they're claiming it's like Ukraine, but more or less Ukraine's been leaning more towards, well, I think it was they were going to join, well, they were looking to join the EU, and then from then Russia's really just been looking to dead that, but it's stirring up all the mindset, putting all these world leaders in a mindset that big conflict's coming, and it's set up so when Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai comes out, and people are going to be like, bang, ready to jump on, getting in that zone, man. Because like once that mark's out there, then yeah, people are going to be, hey, that World War III is going to be close, and you can see the marks coming real swift. You got in the States the army. I believe the Navy already started, but now the US Army as well. They said it's like people ain't got the yab. They're getting roundhouse kicked out of the army. So yeah, it's you're seeing that pressure being applied. I believe, well, it's just gone into February, so I think maybe it's a few more days. I believe it's like New York as well. The police, NYPD, they're gonna start getting dropped too. Well, we'll see to what scale. Because for both as well, we'll see how to what scale it hits. But that pressure's being applied, and hey, that's what we're waiting upon. That hour of temptation, that time where it's gonna be, that mark is gonna be pushed. It's gonna be pressure. It's gonna be pushed upon the people heavy, and those who take it and those who don't. It's that line. It's basically gonna be shown. You know who's gonna endure. So that's on AP News. It says Biden orders forces to Europe amid stalled Ukraine talks. It says President Joe Biden is ordering 2,000 US-based troops to Poland and Germany and shifting 1,000 more from Germany to Romania, demonstrating to both allies and foes America's commitment to NATO's eastern flank amid fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Pentagon said Wednesday. Russia fired back with a sharply worded objection, calling the deployments unfounded and destructive. And it's funny because more or less the US is it's funny with all the a lot of the shit is basically like Russia's trying to regain their get closer to where they were during like the Cold War, where they kind of had a firmer base and they could compete. And the US had to be wary. That's been done from the early 90s. Well, from the 90s, it's been done. So now the US has essentially been trying to keep them in check. But hey, look, it's about the spirit, and hey, Yahweh Shem Yahshai basically has angels working on the minds of these leaders, and chief one that's been worked on is like Putin, because this guy has more or less been he's put himself in a permanent position of rule over Russia, and he's been in the mindset of what, of getting them in a prominent position, and that's really what, so they can come against America, because that's how the Lord's gonna have these things go down. So So it says Russian President Vladimir Putin also had a new telephone exchange with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, but readouts from both governments showed no progress, with Putin saying the West was given no ground on Russia's security concerns, and Johnson expressing deep concern about Russia's hostile activity on the Ukrainian border, referring to Putin's build-up of 100,000 troops there. The Biden administration is funny as well because it was on RT and they just had like Russia and Belarus just doing joint exercises. It's like these managers out there in the cold doing work. And them obviously just broadcasting it just shows like, yeah, they're like, yeah, what are you man gonna do? And as well, it's trying to, with Belarus, the guy from Belarus, he's basically is in order under Putin. So it's like they're trying to get back to where it was. Everyone was under that vibration of Russia, man, because they're all gonna be brought together in that Third World War, man. Gonna take place in the Middle East, and that's where they're gonna be drawn out. It says the Biden administration is aiming to demonstrate U.S. resolve without undermining efforts to find a diplomatic solution to the crisis. Biden, notably, has not sent military reinforcements to the three Baltic countries on NATO's eastern flank, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, that are former states of the Soviet Union. To be fair, it would be like doing that, you just like like shit would just pop off way quicker. It says no US troops are being sent to Ukraine and White House. And the thing is as well, is likely there's more things, there's the Black Ops, there's things off the books happening in the background. And that's gonna be more what Russia's gonna be responding to. You're not really gonna see it in the news because they obviously have spies doing their things, just like Russia will have spies, in the States and Europe, kind of keeping an eye on things. To get a feel for what's really going down. And that's why it's like the whole thing in the public, a lot of it is just fluff. But then when you actually see like troop movements or whatnot, or, conflicts, little skirmishes and whatnot go down, then you'll kind of really know, like, okay, what's this about? Because this whole circumstance, yeah, well, I don't even know if the West is really gonna be doing it, able to to stop what Russia wants to do in this scenario. And anyway, through prophecy, it's gonna be the Middle East. That's the main spot where it's gonna go down. So as such, it's like, this is all building up. But hey, the mark and the Middle East, that's kind of what I'm more watching for. Because it was the same thing with North Korea. There was that period of time where they were talking about North Korea, like, yo, North Korea's going to do this. They're looking to strike, blah, blah, blah. It was hyped up for a few weeks and months. Then it kind of blew over. It was the same with, like, Russia with them originally taking over Crimea and whatnot. Was it Crimea? I believe so. Was it? But there was the other region they took it in, like, 2014. When they took over, where hey, they did their thing. It was mad. Like, the lights got shut off, troops went in, the man got blitzkrieged, and then and then now it's just been stayed like that. That was just accepted. Germany's still getting that gas pipeline from Russia. So like, what's it really mean to them? Says this to Ukraine. And White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Wednesday said the administration has stopped calling a Russia invasion imminent because the word implies Washington knows Putin has made a decision to invade. Officials say Putin's intentions remain unclear. However, increasing US troop levels in Eastern Europe is exactly what Putin has said he finds intolerable, along with the prospect of Ukraine joining NATO. Oh yeah, it was NATO. It was NATO, not the EU. They were gonna join NATO, which would more or less be like, yeah, just holding a knife in the back of Russia at all times. It says the US already has several thousand troops in Poland and Romania. Is host to a NATO missile defense system that Russia considers a threat. The US presence in the region has increased since 2014 when Russia made their first invasion of Ukraine. Yeah, so I think it was Crimea then. So as Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said, soon to deploy US forces are intended to temporarily bolster US and allied defensive positions. These are not permanent moves, he said, stressing that the purpose is to reassure allies. Kirby said Russia had continued its build-up even in the previous 24 hours, despite the US urging that de-escalate. Yeah, it's kind of a tit for tat, just being like, bro, the men are fucking invisible. You have to be walking through and just get annihilated. That's kind of wild. Man have the white AKs too. Man said the ice cold, bro. Fucking hell, I in Russia. In the dead of winter as well. Yeah, that would be a fucking abyss. That war would be peak. So you don't even know how much these NATO troops have prepared for what do you call it, for war, that winter war. But hey, it would get peak. We can wait and see. We'll see what happens. So 1 Thessalonians 5:1 it says, "But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." And that's how it's gonna come, because most people are kind of looking at this like this ain't gonna go down, and this particular situation might not be, of a significant level, but for them it's like nukes being fired off is never. A third world war, that's something, yeah, never. Even that's the funny thing is the general public they'll fan the hand a lot of things, but it's like the Karagma. Karagma's an excellent example. Back when like the first few months after the pandemic started, people were talking about, that it's going to get to the point where they're going to be looking to, get that Karagma in you. And then lo and behold, people are like, nah, you guys are crazy, man. I wouldn't even. And then afterwards, it's like when it comes out, oh, we got this technology to do this. People are like, oh, yeah, well, it's like, why are you making such a big deal out of it, man? And then as well, you have Neuralink, you have other angles as well. But it's the people are being worn down, and it's like the first year where it was like everything was shut down. It's like for man in the world, it's like you ain't really like out there doing too much anyway. You're just like using the world, not abusing it. So it's like everything shut down. It's just like, well, just keep on trucking, keep doing what you're doing. For these people in the world, it's like, yo, why even exist? Why even live life? It's like, it's people, they're like, yo, if they lock down again, I don't even know what I'll do. They're like, I have to leave the country or some shit. That's how peak is. Funny as hell. Funny as hell. But, what was it? So, yeah, they're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught unawares with their drawers down, like that guy in the toilet in Jurassic Park, man. When he's running from the thing, he was hidden in the toilet, but the T-Rex just came and obliterated him, man. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Yeah, they're gonna get caught in that sudden destruction, man. Because this is the thing is uh Matthew 24. Matthew 24:6, and it says what? And ye shall hear of wars and rumours of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah. So then wars are a thing that must come to pass, man. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna go down. You're gonna have that big mass scale conflict go down where all these nations get involved, and then when Yahweh Shai makes his return, then they're all gonna come together to get smashed by Yahweh Shai and the chariots, man. But it says, "What for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Yeah, that's what you're seeing. Seeing these nations rising against each other, and even with all these different little skirmishes happening, you're also seeing that ill will towards the US being built as well within these different countries, to where it's you can see it's being seeded in the minds of the leaders of different nations that, hey, they're going to be switching on America, man, like when it comes down the line. Because a lot of things on the earth, it really goes back to presently America has fucked all kinds of shit up. It says what and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, and that's the thing. It's not just going to be the war happening. It's going to be in the midst of famine, pestilence, all form of other things going down, and that's why that charagma is going to be made. Like it's going to be in a state where people are going to be clamoring, heavily desiring, doing everything in their power to get it. That's how appealing it's going to be made, and that's why the elites are basically building up to that state where it's like, hey, everyone's going to be eager, everyone's going to be losing their minds trying to get. Let me get Joel. Joel 3 and 9 says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, and let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh." Yeah, so everyone basically getting that warlike state. That's what you're having. You've had over the course of America, their military budget is insane. I think they spend more. Well, I don't even know if it still counts at this stage. A few years back, it was like they spent more than like the next 7 or 8 nations combined on their military. So everyone's all these different nations have increased their spending as well over time. I think it was a NATO. Part of NATO was basically everyone had to increase their spending by like 1% or something. Military spending by like 1%, and I think it was America and a few other countries the only ones that did it. But regardless, like everyone's spending was still going up. Said let them come up. Says assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of Yahweh's judgment, Yahweh Hashem Yahshai's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. That's it. It's the valley of decision, where the Lord's basically see to and judge these nations, man. It's ultimately gonna end with what? Yahweh shall make his return. But it's gonna be mass death, man. Mass death ending in a nuclear nuclear strikes taking place. That's that's the intensity of what Yahweh Shimmy Shah is going to be doing. But hey, for now, that Quran, man, that's the main thing, man. That's the main prophecy that's there waiting in the wings. That's what everyone's talking about. That's what everyone's, that's a big one that people are clowning about. But it's going to come down to what? The hour of temptation. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Praise the Yahweh. Shalom. 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 Shalom.